Okay, folks, we're going to get started here, and we're going to talk about circles with the center on the origin and with the center off the origin. We'll talk a little bit about the formulas. Um, we'll talk about if I gave you an equation of a circle, can you find the center and the radius? And then if I gave you the center and the radius, can you write the equation? There's really only one more thing about circles, and that's general formula, which we'll try to get to at the end of this short video. Okay, so if you had a coordinate plane and you had the center on the origin and you had the radius like this, you know the circle would look like this. Now this dot represents any general dot on the coordinate plane. So we're going to call that x comma y. All right, let me get a different color. So if you notice in this particular problem, um, you can draw a triangle. Now remember, if x represents the coordinate there, this length has to be x. And if y represents that coordinate right there, that has to be y. Notice the relationship, right triangle, Pythagorean theorem, x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. Now very simply put, this is the general formula for the equation of a circle with the center at the radius. Center at the origin. I'm sorry. Now, here's my question. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, here's the circle. The center's at its radius. Can you give me the equation? Well, yeah, we know the equation. First of all, the general form is x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. And we know that r is a distance from the center to a point on the circle, and it's 2 units away. So r is 2. So the equation of this circle is x squared plus y squared is equal to 4. That's the gist right there of what you need to be able to do. Now, what would be another question I could ask you? Well, let me just scoot this over to the side here. Here's a question. Here is a center, and here's a radius. Radius is 2. Can you give me the equation of the circle? Well, yeah, it's this one right here. X squared plus y squared is equal to 4, because the only thing different here is r squared, and r I just gave you right there is 2. So that does kind of make sense. All right, let's try this a different way. What would it be if I said it's 5? Write the equation of a circle. Well, okay, that would be what? X squared plus y squared, because the center is at the origin, is 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, well, that's pretty easy. Now, here's a question. What if I gave you the equation and I said, find the center? Well, you're saying that's easy. It's x squared plus y squared, so the center is 0, 0. I agree with you. What's the radius? The radius is 7. Okay, so let me scoot that up a little bit. Okay, all right, so that takes care of that. All right, now there's another formula that we need to be aware of, and this is very, very important. And it's not that bad. So here we go. Now my center is over here somewhere, h comma k. And here's my radius, and here's my circle. Can I write the formula for the equation of a circle? Try not to memorize these things. Well, Mr. Staples, this is just the formula for the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. I go, you're right. And this is x comma y, and your center is h comma k. Let me just use the distance formula. D is equal to the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Please make sure you look at that video. Now I'm going to call this x sub 2. And I'm going to call h x sub 1. Okay. I'm going to call this y sub 2. And I'm going to call the k the y. Okay. Now instead of d, the distance, I have r, the radius. Now what's going to happen if we square both sides? We square both sides. That's pretty sloppy right there. Well, if we squared both sides, we'd have r squared at the left, and then you would just have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. I'm just showing you where the formulas come from. So, all right, so Mr. Staples, what is it I really need to know? What you need to know is this formula right here is the formula for the equation of a circle with the with the center not on the origin. So question, how would I write if I give you the center as 2, 3 and the radius is 4, how would I write the equation of that circle? That is an outstanding question, so let's answer it together. Well, it's going to be something squared plus something squared is equal to r squared. And r squared would be 4 squared, but everybody knows 4 squared is 16. Okay? And this is going to be x minus the 2, and this is going to be y minus the 3. Does that make sense? All right, now I could ask you one other type of question, and that is, now I'm going to change this, erase this, and let's just say I'm giving you a question here. Here is the equation of a circle, and I want you to tell me what's its center and what's its radius. Well, the center is going to be the x number, which is 4, comma. I'm looking over here. It's supposed to be minus 5, but here it's plus. So that means the y must be minus 5. 4, negative 5 is this place on the coordinate plane. And what's the radius? Well, if that's r squared, then the radius has to be 5. So those are some questions that I could ask you. Now, I wouldn't be fair if I didn't ask you. There are times that you're going to have to come up with an equation given an expression in general form. So let me just, I'm coming off of the top of my head on this here. Okay, I'm just going to say 10 right now. Okay. Now this actually is the equation of the circle, but it's not in standard form. So what we need to do, we need to put the x terms together. I think this may be the hardest thing you did so far, but if you're thinking that's not that hard, I go good. Now if you'll notice here that this is actually a complete the square. This is a complete the square type problem. So I have a song for that, and I sang it to you before. So what's half of 6? Half of 6 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. I want you to add 9 right here. Of course, you're going to have to add it over here. It's an equation, right? All right, what's half of 4? Half of 4 is 2. What's 2 squared? 4. You have to add that here. You have to add that here. Okay. Now let's see. 13, 23. I'm going to make this 12. Okay, just to make it come out even. All right, now let's notice on the left side, according to the song, you could factor writing that as a binomial squared. You could factor this as a binomial squared. And let's see, 9 and 4 is 13 and 12 is 25. Okay. Now my question is, do you recognize this as a circle? Well, yes, we do. It's a circle with the center at what? 3, comma, -2, and the radius is what? 5. Okay, so that's one of the harder problems you could say, but that is a problem that you'll need to be able to do. Hope that helps.